And then there were 8. Are they, though, the 8 that you thought they'd be? Kind of a wild card weekend, the most watched since 2016. In the first weekend, this guy's been a fan in 18 weeks.
Yes, great to be on my couch with the tens of millions of you who watch postseason football this weekend. And unlimited bathroom breaks, it's heavenly.
Okay, and that's all I want to hear about that. Welcome to NFL Total Access with Scott Hansen. I'm Lindsay Rose.
We start with the future of the Dallas Cowboys. Major news today as Dallas has hired Mike McCarthy to be their next head coach. McCarthy was out of football last year but made the playoffs in 9 of his 13 seasons in Green Bay. And he is a Super Bowl champion, winning it all back in Super Bowl 45 almost a decade ago. NFL media insider Ian Rapoport joins us now. Ian, last week seemed a bit awkward, quite frankly, in Dallas. It was a slow motion firing of Jason Garrett, but the Cowboys bring in a coach who has a Super Bowl ring. Why McCarthy, and how did they land on McCarthy?
Well, while we were all debating when Jason Garrett was going to get officially informed that he was not going to return as the Cowboys coach, Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones kind of stealthily conducted a coaching search, even though Jason Garrett was still technically employed, though we all knew he was not going to return with Dallas this year. First, they interviewed Marvin Lewis, the former Bengals head coach, clearly focusing on head coaches who have been there before in the NFL. And then Saturday morning, they flew in Mike McCarthy. This was his 4th team he was interviewing with, actually 5th team overall. And it was pretty clear when he stayed the night in Dallas that this was a move the Cowboys wanted to make. It was a very targeted search, a small group of people that they looked at. McCarthy very high on the list of Stephen Jones. And then when Jerry Jones got on board, that was when this hire really we knew was going to happen. They talked contract late last night, finalized it early this morning. You know, we talked so much in Dallas this year about a Dak-friendly offense. This is a Dak-friendly hire. Hard to imagine a better move for a young quarterback than someone like Mike McCarthy, who spent so many years creating the Aaron Rodgers that we are going to see on the field in the playoffs this week. And obviously a big move for Dallas from someone who actually has won a Super Bowl title in Dallas. He, of course, needs to fill out his staff. Mike Nolan, the former Saints linebackers coach, is headed to Dallas. He's expected to be Mike McCarthy's defensive coordinator. Still some things to work out on the offensive side of the ball. Opposite Nolan, from what I understand, though, Kellen Moore is someone that McCarthy likes, so it is possible, and he is open to keeping Moore on the staff.
Cowboys hiring continues there on terms of the staff. In terms of head coaches in the NFL, we are down to 3 vacancies: Giants, Panthers, and Browns. Thank you, Ian. Back to Mike McCarthy now. All of his head coaching experience came in Green Bay. 9 trips to the playoffs, including 8 straight at one point. And his record at AT&T Stadium, he's 4-0, as Ian said, including winning Super Bowl 45 in that building years ago. Speaking of the DFW Metroplex, let's go live now to Jane Slater covering the Dallas Cowboys. She is at team headquarters. Jane, what's the reaction inside that building behind you?
Well, it's still not official as it applies to the Cowboys. I reached out to them repeatedly throughout the day, and I'm told that there could be a press conference later in the week. This thing is still a fluid situation, but even the coaches who have contracts, they have not heard from Mike McCarthy and his staff, and coaches with expiring contracts have not heard from Mike McCarthy and his staff. So they continue to play this waiting game as well. This morning, I did report that Mike McCarthy had reached out to a running backs coach as a potential candidate. No word on if he has taken the job just yet. But also around here, Randall Cobb, a guy that knows him pretty well, he is a free agent, so still to be determined if he's coming back next year. But he told me he played with him for 8 years. This was a guy that was responsible for helping draft him to Green Bay, and he was also responsible for getting him involved in that offense that had a lot of star power while he was there in Green Bay. And then, of course, we heard from cornerback Donovan Olumba, who was excited about that. But for the most part, everyone's been bummed. Haven't heard from any of the guys back. I would assume they're just waiting for the official announcement themselves.
And then we get the news conference at some point during this week. McCarthy can absolutely win the news conference if he steps up to the microphone and starts with, "Yeah, Dez did catch it." We know Jane Slater will be there when it happens, and we'll carry it for you live here on NFL Network. Thank you, Jane. One of McCarthy's former players, Devontae Adams, who's busy getting ready for the Packers playoff game this weekend, tweeted out, "Good for Big Mike. Happy for you, coach." As for some industry perspective, here is our Super Bowl winning head coach, Brian Billick, talking about today's news.
It's the perfect, not good, not great, perfect hire for Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys? Well, Mike McCarthy, first off, he has unquestioned offensive credentials. No one can look at him and not recognize the productivity he's had, what he's done in putting offenses together, mentoring, obviously, and developing Aaron Rodgers. He has got proven head coaching credentials, and that's the number one thing. He's going to step into that team, and the player's going to look and see this is a proven winner in the NFL. He's got a very, very strong personality in the locker room, but he's got a subdued ego. So he's going to be fine with, hey, Jerry, you do all the media stuff. In fact, if he could get away with it, he'd probably say, look, how about you do all the media? I don't even want to talk to them anymore.
Thank you, Coach. Much more on the Cowboys' new head coach here on NFL Total Access. Later in the show, we already told you McCarthy was out of football last year. We're going to show you an exclusive look at how McCarthy spent his time away preparing for this exact opportunity, including breaking down Dak Prescott video 2 months ago. Stay tuned.